All right, well, it looks like it is just about 1 o'clock Mountain Time. So let's get started, everyone. Well, welcome. This is DES 242, Logo and Identity. And we are in our first session of our first week of our fifth mod of 2017. So pretty auspicious, 115. And yeah, today is Tuesday, May 16th. It would be really nice if it was Tuesday, May 15th, so we kind of go with our 1 and 5 theme, but well, can't be can't be ideal in all ways of numbers. So welcome to our students who are here in person in synchronous time with me. Welcome also to everybody who is joining us via video. Even though 1 p.m. Mountain Time is convenient for me, I know that for many of you, it's just not feasible and such with work and time zones and that sort of thing. So know that even though you may not be participating live as this unfolds, you're definitely on our minds, and we'll do our best to make everybody feel welcome, kind of no matter how they might be joining us. So how's everybody who's here who has a chat box capability? Looks like Nick says hello. Hello back. Okay, it'll be pretty quiet. It's heading home now. Can't do much on the phone. Oh yeah, no problem. Glad to hear that. Be safe if you are doing something with a phone and a vehicle. Keep that in mind. Let's see. Thomas says, "Good, nice to have you again." Yes, yeah, good to see a couple familiar faces. Oh, good for everybody. Nick is not driving. Good. I will say though, if you're using the Zoom interface on your phone, it is very strange because I don't know if everybody's tried it or not, but it is kind of like you can either look at the chat or you can look at the slides. You kind of can't do both, which kind of makes sense because it's a phone, so you have a pretty small screen space, but still it does kind of make things a little bit inconvenient because you usually comment as you watch, not one versus the other. All right, well, let's jump into a couple things so we can get moving right along. First thing here is the agenda for this course. So as this is our first session together, we're going to be doing kind of lots of introductions. So even though quite a few of you know me, I'm going to reintroduce myself just to make sure everybody's on the same page. Then we're going to jump into the class and just look at kind of how this class is set up. Just check out a couple key points, things to be aware of, that sort of thing. Then we're going to talk about kind of setting the stage as far as what that means regarding logos, identity work, kind of where we're headed for this course. And then I'll jump into logo time and get into kind of a little bit of the nuts and bolts of the first assignment, as well as kind of interwoven with logo-ish content and such. So lots of introductions, lots of meeting, and then some jumping into the logo as well. So first off, hi. That may or may not look like the word hi to you. I will confess that I found this font called Bifur, B-I-F-U-R, free, and I've kind of been in love with it for probably about the past 4 mods. And there, every once in a while, I come to a word or a letter that I'm not so in love with, but I'm testing it out. So this word hi, definitely one of those. Not quite sure I can read it, but it is kind of fun and decorative regardless. But yeah, so this is me. I will be sharing my camera momentarily. This is kind of a still image of me. My name is Lisa Hammersheim, and I will be your instructor for the next 4 weeks. Kind of the, I was going to say I'll be kind of the captain of the ship for the next 4 weeks, but not really. I mean, we'll all be integral parts of things. So you'll see I have a small Yorkshire Terrier with me. That is little Ruby Joy. You may or may not hear her occasionally during our sessions. She is my little 5.5-year-old princess in many ways. But yeah, so we live just outside of Chicago, and so we are in Central Time Zone. So for any of you all who are in the Midwest, in the kind of immediate, as I said, the immediate southeast, well, kind of southeast, south central, we are time zone pals. So 1 p.m. Mountain really means 2 for us. But yeah, so as a little background of me, I've been with Independence University for about almost 6 years. It'll be 6 years in June. And over that time, I've had a couple different positions, all within the graphic arts department. So the most recent position, which I currently hold, is as a faculty program advisor. So I may even have some of you as my students who are kind of under my care, under my wing, so to speak. But yeah, so I enjoy the whole teaching, learning, designing process as well. A couple other fun facts about me, and I'll actually stop sharing my screen and start sharing myself, so you can see me real as well. Ooh. Sorry, whenever I suddenly click on myself, I always get immediately distracted by what I look like, which, you know, you would think I know what I look like, so I shouldn't be, but so it's the whole phenomenon of webcam. But yeah, so a couple other fun facts about me. I'm actually currently a student as well. I'm working on my doctorate in distance education. So I'm studying kind of how studio spaces get extended from being kind of fully walled kind of classrooms, which are, you know, what you think of traditionally with studios, into more networked kind of online learning spaces. So all that to say, I completely get the idea of, you know, what you all are doing with being in school and also, you know, having the rest of your life. You don't really go anywhere to school, but rather school kind of exists in the midst of your schedules. So I think personally it's a wonderful thing. Like, I think it's super smart. I think it's a great way to kind of keep life together, so to speak, kind of get things done. But I also think that it's very, very tricky because, like I said, you know, we don't go to a classroom. Kind of the classroom tends to be wherever we are. So if you guys ever have like family issues, health issues, job issues, technology issues, kind of just issues in general, Princess says baby issues, yeah. Anything that's an issue, and that's basically being human. I'm very open to you know, working with you and helping you succeed. And, you know, we can be flexible on deadlines. We can be flexible on, you know, how we work, how we turn things in. So I'm extremely open. You know, don't be intimidated at all by anything. But one thing I do ask is just that you let me know. So I really, 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 nothing kind of gets me more than when students don't reach out to me until like Thursday of week 4 and say, oh my gosh, you know, I've had multiple deaths in the family and I've been moving and, you know, all this stuff happened and, you know, what can I do? And it's unfortunate because most of the time it's nothing now because it's just too late. But had I known, you know, I could have worked with you and, you know, we could have made it work. So please stay in touch. Like, don't think that you're not, you know, you're being a pest. Like, send me communication because I like knowing kind of what's going on. Let's see. Princess says, "Can we fix errors and return in for a better grade?" Yes, you can always turn in anything, implement comments, feedback, that sort of thing. So, kind of hint, if you haven't already figured this out, which I have a feeling many of you have. Graphic design is like a never-ending process. So when you work with a client, pretty much the only time you're fully done is once you get paid. So within that other process, you're always kind of making something, submitting. It's a very kind of like a circle process, basically. So I'm fine with you know, us doing that here because I think it's very good not to, you know, it's not, you don't just do it once and say, okay, I checked that box off, like it was perfect, like, if only. It's usually pretty much never perfect, but it does have to be done sometimes. So that's kind of what perfection looks like. See, Princess says, not even then when you want to perfect it. Yeah, exactly. So work always changes. So yeah, kind of moral of the story is I'm very open to working with you all in whatever way would be best for your success and your flourishing in this course. But you have to keep me posted because I can't, I don't know your situation unless you tell me. So just kind of, have that back and forth. All right, so I am going to stop my video and go back to sharing my screen since we don't want the video to be massive when we post it. Okay, so that was all about me. So what I'm kind of curious about is for you all to just kind of, I was going to say tell me, but not so much tell me, show me a little bit about yourselves. So you can see here we have a map of the US, and what I would love for you all to do is find your annotation tools. And then once you've found them, use some sort of pencil, pen, shape, whatever, to just make a mark kind of where you are located geographically. So I just put a little X where I am because that's where I happen to be. And let's see, Nick looks like he is in Ohio, which is fabulous. Okay, Princess says she's in Utah, but I would love to see it if you can do it. And we'll give you guys just a second. So if you're watching via video, unfortunately, you cannot use the annotation tools because YouTube does not jive with that. But I will say that it is kind of fun to watch, just kind of see where the other people in the course are located, kind of your other classmates. I think that one thing about kind of online learning is that because you can do it at your own pace, kind of at your own time, in your own space, you tend to sometimes feel like you are the only student. Spoiler alert, you are not the only student. There's about 29 of you in this course. So, as we're going through the next couple weeks, really, think about that, like, hey, if you're ever frustrated, think, well, at least I'm not alone. There's 28 others of us, and we may or may not be struggling in the same ways. But yeah, just kind of feel like you're part of a community. So I very much kind of see us all as a team for a little bit and see what happens. Okay, so it looks like Princess is in Utah. Yeah, I'd say that looks like Utah to me. Somebody is in Texas. Let's see. Okay, Thomas, nice. Thomas is in Texas. Wow, and look at us. I mean, we're going like, I was going to say we're going coast to coast. Not really, because Nick is in Ohio and Princess is in Utah. But we're spanning a good round of different zones of the country. So pretty cool. So yeah, so as you're watching via video, where do you fit in? Are you like Nick, repping the Eastern time zone? Are you like Thomas and I, Central? Are you like Princess, kind of Mountain time zone? Where do you fit? Or are you Pacific, which would be kind of fun as well. If you are Pacific, you're probably just starting to eat. You would be just starting to eat lunch with this, so kind of fun. All right, so that was our map exercise. We're just going to do two more. Kind of just things of, general icebreakers type things to just kind of check in with each other, get us thinking. And also, I will say I am pretty much the biggest fan ever of the annotation tool, of you guys kind of making these sessions more kind of your thing as well. So not just me, talking the whole time, and because that gets old quickly, let me tell you. But yeah, so kind of getting you guys involved as well. So, jumping in, annotating, kind of contributing as you want to. And so that's another another good reason we're doing these. So again, if you're watching via video, I'm so sorry because you can't do this, but you can watch and you know, just kind of see what's happening, see what's possible, and also, you know, think about how you would answer these questions as well, since, you know, you may not be here, but your answers matter just as much. So yeah, so my favorite color is, so what would your favorite color be? And full disclaimer, I love that somebody's already typing. Uh, this is the edited selection of favorite colors. This may even be the Lisa-inspired selection of favorite colors. Okay, so it looks like Princess is going with pink, Nick is going with red, Thomas is going red, black, red too. Looks like I need to add a red. Looks like I need to add a red box. Well, I will say that my favorite color, since you're all probably wondering, is probably primarily orange. Though I will say that I have kind of a color scheme, which is my favorite, which some of you may remember. So it's orange, turquoise, magenta, and gray. All of those colors together, I think, are fabulous. So that's my deal. And yeah, it looks like excellent. Nick is providing a red swatch for everyone to potentially choose. I will say red actually doesn't really do it for me. But that said, it is a color that I'm actually seeing more and more, and adding to my my life and wardrobe more and more. So we'll see. Maybe I'll come around on the whole red front. All right, so let's keep on going. We got one more thing. Oh yeah, no worries. Okay, so if I were a font, I would be what? So we talked about geography, we talked about color. Pretty much the last thing that we'll look at is, if you were a font, you know, what would you be? Would you be decorative? Would you be a handwriting kind of script one? Would you be kind of a clean, modern, super streamlined sans serif? Would you be a serif? What's your kind of vibe? And you guys have all been around long enough that you probably have some favorites, some things that you use quite a bit habitually, and that sort of thing. So what's your deal? Okay, and if you're watching via video, again, you know, don't just check out of this. Like, think, what would you be if you were a font? Maybe even send me your answer. Or do you have a good one that you always use a lot? As you guys will see in the upcoming slides, I'm on a Byfer kick, which I was going to say I'll probably be off of soon, but no, I think it's a long-lasting love that I have with it. So, okay. Let's see. Nick says my favorite is Monotype Corsiva. Nice. Looks like Princess would be Alice in Wonderland. Ooh. I'm guessing that's going to be decorative. Okay, decorative script. Yeah, I will say I think I would probably put myself as a script, but it's kind of ironic because when I think about what I use, what I use a lot, I'm definitely a sans serif. So I have a bit of a cognitive, I guess, dissonance of, you know, how I see myself versus what I actually do, but say that's client work perhaps. Okay, Princess says, kind of an oddball. I like being that way. Sweet. Yeah, very nice. All right, so it looks like we're a decorative and scripty bunch. So yeah, so curious, if you're a video watcher, you know, where would you put yourself in this kind of scheme? Are you part of the decorative script clan? Will you be brave and say, I'm actually Times New Roman 100%? No judgments. Nobody will think you're boring if you say that. we're a safe place. All right, so let's clear, oops, clear everything so we can move into just a couple other things. Oh, here's one more kind of public service announcement. I'm actually going to be reminding you of this a lot, and that is that Design Club is tomorrow at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, so Wednesday at 5, Design Club. The reason that we're going to be promoting this like craziness is because I'm actually leading it. So we want we want the best turnout ever. Competitively, I want the best turnout ever. But yeah, so come if you are able, if you have some free time, or if you can't do it, it is recorded, and it's a good thing to take advantage of as well. So Design Club, 5 p.m. We're going to talk about building your professional network and the importance of making friends and meeting people, and just kind of connecting in with everyone. Thomas says, I will be there at 6. Yes. And since we are on the same time zone, Thomas, we will be there together. Nice. Okay, so Design Club, 5 p.m. We're going to have that announcement about 7 more times. So at some point it will sink into all of our brains. All right, so let's jump into the classrooms. We can kind of take a look around. And yes, 7 for Nick. Exactly. All right, so here's our logo and identity classroom. So just kind of a fun fact about this course. This has actually been completely rewritten. So you guys are getting a fresh, new, clean, amazing, hopefully, course. So yeah, it's kind of fun to see how it works, see how it unfolds, that sort of thing. So since you all are in the 200s, I know that you probably don't need me to kind of go step by step through things, but I will do it anyway. No, I won't do it anyway, but I do just want to highlight a couple things just so that you kind of can orient yourself. If you are anything like me, and once again I said no no judgment, you hear the word syllabus and you think, letting me just go to sleep because this is going to be the most boring thing ever. Actually, if you go to course information within the syllabus, you can get a whole bunch of cool things as kind of an overview about the course. So I would encourage everybody, stick with me for about 5 minutes as we just kind of look through here. And you may be amazed at all you can learn just from taking a quick browse of the course information. So basically, course description. So this course focuses on developing essential skills for designing logos and corporate identities. So basically what this course is about: logos, corporate identities. You probably learned that from the title, but again, kind of what the course will be about. And then you can see here course objectives. These are actually really cool because this shows you what you will learn once this whole shebang is over. So discuss the symbiotic relationship between logos and corporate identities. If you read that sentence right now and think, I have no idea what that even means, perfect, because when we're all finished with the course, you'll be able to discuss and analyze and understand it completely. Number 2, identify elements of an effective logo design. So kind of why some logos work, why others don't. You'll be able to do that once the course is done. And what this means even more is as you look at your own work, you will be able to kind of analyze if it's working or not. Then number 3, integrate a company's future goals with historic past in a logo redesign. So first and second assignment essentially is taking a logo that is pre-made and making it much better, kind of like a makeover, logo makeover, so to speak. Create a unique personal logo. Perhaps one of my favorite things about this course, we will all create something cool and fun that embodies us in logo format. And then explain the importance of a cohesive visual logo presentation across a variety of formats. So this is all pretty high level stuff. And so it's interesting, it's applicable, and it's the kind of stuff that you you need to know as a designer, but even more, it's also really fun to know as a designer because it has some pretty good application and some very, very, very good kind of integration into professional projects that you will be doing as a professional graphic designer. So let's see, Nick says, I've already made my own logo months ago, been using it on everything. Can I use that? We shall see. Most likely, probably, but we'll see as we go through this course. You might go through the first couple of weeks and be like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? I thought it was cool, but but yeah, so when we get there, we'll see. Princess says, I'm nervous, I've never made a logo for myself yet. In 1 month from now, you will definitely have something to show, and even more kind of the experience of going through. So, all right, so let's see, learning objectives. So again, these are just kind of the course objectives broken down a bit more, so we won't go over those, but a couple more things. Expected course hours. So kind of if you're wondering how much time I may or may not spend working on this course, as usual, it's about, we're saying 20 hours a week. So depending on how your time shakes out and such, may or may not be in that line. And then this is where actually I think it's super cool is the topical outline and the course task list. So basically this is topics for each week that we're going to be going over. So this week you can see the parts and powers of logos. Second week, connecting the pieces together. Week 3, designing your professional identity. And then week 4, extending your identity, which is where you really get to put your own personal logo on a bunch of interesting items. So first 2 weeks, you can see we really talk about kind of the bits and pieces, kind of what goes into a logo, how you should think about it, that sort of thing. And then the second 2 weeks, we take that practical knowledge and we focus on everyone's favorite clients, which is ourselves, and we get to kind of implement those together. All right, so course task list. Again, this is kind of a further fleshed out topical outline. So you can see just kind of an overview of what's going to happen in each week of the course. So in class, out of class. So you're gonna redesign a logo, write a paper, create logo guidelines, take a quiz, do another kind of logo redesign, so you can kind of break each of those down. So kind of fun. And again, this may be like undiscovered territory for some of you. All right, so grading, basically make sure that you get 60% or higher, and we will leave it at that. All right, so as promised, I think that was about 4 minutes, so hopefully not too painful. One other thing which actually is very important, which make note of, if you kind of glazed over when we were jumping into the syllabus, please make sure you come back around. And that is because I want you to make sure that you all have my contact info. So as I said earlier, I'm super open to working with you all, however might be helpful for you. But also I do need to know about things. So make sure that you jot down my email address, telephone number, just ways to get in contact. Just a heads up, I'm not great at talking on the phone, but I'm great at texting. So kind of keep that in mind as well. But yeah, so kind of just take my info, and that should be good. Princess says, can you add me on LinkedIn? I'm actually really terrible at LinkedIn as well. So I don't know if I'd really be I don't know if I'd really be that great of a contact. but perhaps we'll see. All right, so let's see if there's anything else to profile. I don't think so. Just make sure that you are always checking announcements periodically, just in case there's any changes or helpful info, cool links, tips, etc. I will be posting those there, so you want to take note. Take note as well. Princess says, "Is it okay to see Wanda for help?" Yes. Oh, that's actually a great segue, because I was thinking of clicking on this. So we do have a learning coach for this course, dedicated learning coach, I should say, who is Wanda Bryant. And yes, use these resources if you ever have any questions about anything, or you're feeling stuck, or you just kind of want to have another set of eyes on what you're doing. For sure, check in with a learning coach or the Student Success Center. This is all it's totally free. They're super helpful. I think it's another one of the undiscovered gems of being a student here at IU. So here's her info when she's going to be particularly in the Student Success Center. If none of these times work for you, you can always go in using the Shark link on my homepage, on our homepage, and you should be able to get assistance that way as well. So definitely check in, use it. It's very, very, very good. A couple other things I did want to just reinforce. The first is Adobe CC is what we will be using for this course. We're going to be kind of very Illustrator heavy. So if you have been getting notifications that your Adobe subscription is going to expire in the near future, please kind of keep on top of that. There's actually nothing you need to do until after it expires, but make sure that as soon as it expires that you are going through the steps to update and download your new, I should say upgrade to the next subscription level. So I know in the last course I was teaching, 2 courses ago, we had quite a few students whose software expired kind of mid-mod, and it feels like a panic-inducing event. It's actually not. It's very easy to fix. But for whatever reason, Adobe feels the need to be very kind of sensational about, the world will end as soon as your Adobe subscription finishes. No, all you have to really do is just update it, so it's a pretty easy fix. So if that's you at any point and you have any questions, just let me know. But again, let me know sooner than later, so that I can help you if you need any assistance. And one more thing to take note of. This course does use critique as a learning methodology. So basically what that means is we will be showing work from the past week. So this will probably start in week 2 and kind of discuss, what seems to be working, what seems to not be working quite so well, what could be done better, what's being done amazingly, all that kind of stuff. So the reason that we do this is because this is kind of how design works. You don't really ever, just design for one person and only one person ever sees it. You kind of design and everybody contributes. So as a designer, it's very important that you get comfortable with people kind of seeing and commenting on your work. It's very important that you begin to learn when you're in school how to kind of separate yourself out from your work. So, work comments, they're never about you personally. They always feel like they're about you personally, but they're not. So kind of going through a critique process is just a good way to kind of learn and develop those skills. So we are going to do that. That said, if you're really, really, really not into critique, if you don't want your work shown, and let me say this, no work is shown with people's names, so it's fairly anonymous. But yes, if you don't want your work shown, I totally can respect that. So just, you have to send me something in written form, and just say, please do not share my work. And I'll say, fine, and we'll go from there. But I would say, if at all possible, participate in this, because it's hugely helpful, and it's good practice. All right, so it looks like people are feeling good about showing work. Sweet. Yeah, and I think it's actually really fun too, because for a lot of these projects, everybody gets kind of the same instructions, but you all have kind of wildly different creative visions. And so if anything, just seeing what people have done for projects is like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe somebody took that here, or decided to go this route with it, or whatever. So it's fun to see, kind of the range of creativity, and then get inspired by what other people are doing, which is, kind of a major thing about design itself. All right, so I think that kind of covers the course introduction. So let's jump back into our session. Hey, Design Club happening Wednesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Everybody should check it out. So just getting that out there. It's going to be amazing. We're going to talk about networking. Actually, speaking of LinkedIn, so we can talk about networking and how to kind of build your network while you should. Nick said it's good. It's only 1 hour. Yep, only 1 hour. Easy, low stakes. Check it out. Wednesday at 5 p.m. Weeks 1 and 3 of the mod. All right, so let's kind of go from the very big, broad of our class, of the next 4 weeks together, that sort of thing, into kind of the narrowing of what we're going to be doing this week. And this is our learning objectives. So every week we have learning objectives, which are kind of like our compass points, kind of what we should follow, what we should be on the lookout for, and even more kind of things to get excited about, because they are things that you should be concretely learning during the week. So if you're kind of wondering, like, what am I really learning in school? Look to the learning objectives, and these are things that are pretty cut and dry and pretty good. All right, so we have 4 for this week. First one, define the impact of color, type, and composition within a logo. Number 2, research and define 3 questions to reveal a unique logo and corporate identity strategy. Number 3, identify and apply 5 techniques for logo redesign considerations. Heads up, assignment learning objective. Number 4, analyze the relationship that exists between a logo and a corporate identity. And that is the discussion for this week. So kind of looking at how color, type, composition work within a logo, some strategies to redesign a logo, and then questions to kind of reveal a unique corporate identity. So kind of how to think about logos, identities, that sort of thing. So we did color, type for ourselves. Hey, it's all tied together, connecting through just a bit. All right, so I think that whenever we kind of discuss something like logo design, like any part of graphic design, like anything kind of professional that we are doing or that we are engaging with in school, it's very important to not just kind of learn the software steps to reproduce it, or do whatever the teacher tells you to do to get an A. I think it's very important to kind of engage with it critically and kind of ask yourself, what exactly is this thing about? Why is it important? So why do I need to learn it? Why does it matter? Why is it worth my time? Since we are all quite busy and there are numerous other things we could be doing. And then finally, how can I do it most effectively? So how can I, kind of what skills will it require? How can I, do it to get that 94%, do it to get that A, that sort of thing. So I would challenge you, throughout the whole time we're in this course, anytime you're kind of confronted with learn something new, do something new, do something different, whatever, you kind of just take a second and say, well, what do I need to do? Why? And then how should I be doing it? So kind of run it through this kind of filtering. So what, why, how, they're all deeply connected, and they really help us kind of give a little bit of a map as to, what exactly we're doing. Princess says, love the font. Yep. Hey, it's, you too can have it. That's what it's called. And it's a free download. I think it's still free. We'll see. So what, why, how, I thought we'd take these 3 words as kind of just a little bit of an overview into logos themselves, logos and identities, and hopefully really set the stage for the work that we're going to be doing in our first assignment this week. So first off, what is a logo? So this is meant to be a question, and it actually looks like a question. So for those of you who are here, you can feel free to type something in the chat box. For those of you who are watching via video, you have no chat box, but you still have a brain. So what is a logo? What would you kind of say is a logo? You're taking logo and identity. Chances are you have a friend or family member who at some point in the next month is going to say, so what class are you taking in school? And then you're going to say logo and identity, and they're going to say, huh, what's that all about? And then it's going to be your foray into answering the question of what is a logo. So just a couple seconds, think about it. What is a logo? Okay, so it looks like Princess says a logo is a way of identifying a brand and giving an identity. Nick is going with a logo is the identity of a company or brand. Typically a unique identity. Yeah, something that gives a positive feeling or gives some sort of emotion to the consumers and the users. Yeah, so it looks like everybody's kind of going with the idea that a logo really is about identifying something. So identifying a company, identifying a brand, kind of setting something apart in a unique way. So Princess says like Coca-Cola, like Disney. Yeah, exactly. Google. Gap, yeah. Okay, so officially, quote unquote, a logo is a word, a symbol, or a picture, or a combination mark, and a combination mark is a mashup of the two. So, sorry, I'm reading the chat box and reading the slide simultaneously, and that did not work at all. So a logo is a word, a picture, a word, a symbol, or a picture. And then a combination logo mark is both a word with a symbol and a picture. So logos very much are used for identification. As you guys all said, they're kind of meant to set apart a company, to set apart an industry, to set apart something from the rest of the world and really help it kind of stick in people's minds. So another chance for you to use your annotation tools. Is a logo a brand? And you can feel free to circle yes or circle no. And again, if you're watching via video, what do you think? You can't circle, but you can certainly engage. Okay, it looks like we have a couple of yeses, and then a couple yes and no, kind of embracing both. Yes, I think I would actually go with the yes and the no contingent. In a lot of ways, a logo is probably the most visible part of a brand, but a logo is not the whole part of a brand itself. So a logo is kind of that unique identifying element So a logo is kind of like it's kind of like the face of the brand, but the brand is so much bigger than just the logo. So as we will get into a little bit later in this course, a brand is really about kind of the emotional component that kind of people think of when they think of a certain company. So for Nike, you know, you think it's cool and you think it's got great style and you think that, you know, people that wear Nikes are fast and, you know, it's kind of something to kind of have that emotional connection to. So that's the Nike brand. Whereas the Nike logo is basically that swoosh that we all kind of think of. So yeah, Princess says it creates a way to identify. Yeah, Nick says a logo would be like someone's face. It's them, but not all of it. Exactly. Oh yes, that's actually a fabulous. It's a fabulous analogy. Yeah, a logo's kind of your like a picture of you, but you're so much bigger, you know, than your picture. And so kind of the same thing. So a logo is kind of like the picture of the brand. The brand is much bigger, but the picture is, you know, something that is very key to kind of representing who it is. So is the logo a brand? Not really, but kind of, which probably makes it even more confusing, but just kind of a good thing good to be aware of. All right, so let's clear all that. Keep on moving right along. Okay, so a logo is a visible symbol of the brand, but it's not the complete brand. So kind of keep that in mind. And this is very tricky because people use these words interchangeably, especially people that aren't designers. So kind of just hold that tension in your head and kind of, you know that we are going to be talking about logos specifically in this course. But logo and brand have kind of a tenuous relationship. Okay, so we are going to kind of to bring this full circle and then also kind of bring us into a break time. We're going to play just a quick little video since we've kind of outlined that logos are visible marks of a company, kind of encompassing, you know, who the company is, the voice of the company, that sort of thing. We're going to play a quick lightning round of interesting, but is it a logo? And again, I'm so sorry, video watchers, that you can't do this, but you can kind of, you know, benefit from things. So we're going to take a look at probably about 4 or 5 just different pictures. And this is meant to be kind of just gut reactions as I show you things. You guys are going to get to identify, is it a logo or is it not? And don't worry, there's no, you know, well, there are right or wrong answers, but you can feel free guessing. Totally fine. Okay, so Mountain View Greenhouse. Is this whole page a logo? What do you think? Okay, Nick said, I'd say it is, but not a very good one. Princess says kind of. Go family, whoever that may be, says no. Okay, so you guys are kind of, so would someone pay you thousands and thousands of dollars to make this for them? Okay, probably not. Okay, what about this one? Is this a logo? Once again, interesting, but do you think this is a logo? And again, you know, if you're watching via video, think, you know, would you call that a logo? Okay, Princess says it looks better. Nick says looks better, but even less of a logo. This might be the correct response if we were playing interesting, but is it a postcard? The text might be, yes, yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay. So we've got, this is definitely not so much. We have elements of this could possibly be. Okay, what about this one? Interesting, but is it a logo? And the second perhaps kind of test is interesting, but is it a logo that you could make for a client and expect to get a paycheck from? The longer version of the game, I think. Okay, Princess says yes, but hard to read. Okay, Nick says, I wouldn't expect a paycheck, but it is a logo. Needs a clearer font. Yeah, a little bit definitely on the blurry side. It's like Mountain View greenhouse in a rainstorm. All right, so what about this one? Is this logo? Okay. Okay, Nick says yes, Princess says yes, but needs better contrast. Okay, so here's the $1,000,000 question. So why are we feeling confident saying yes to this being a logo? Turn my spotlight. Yes to this being a logo, but this guy back here, no drama if I can't change it, back here is not a logo. What's happening in this one that isn't happening in this one? Okay. Nick says, it's clear, it's simple, it's easy to identify. Princess says, simple, but holds the brand, and the other one is too busy. Oh, interesting. So indeed, lots of times, as we're going to see in the very, very near future, as soon as we take a break, lots of times it's not what you put into something that may or may not put it, or that may or may not make it into a logo. It's kind of how you use things, how you arrange things, how you edit things, really gives, kind of the thumbs up or the thumbs down as to if it's a logo, first of all, and then second, if it's a successful logo, which is of course key as well. Okay, Nick says you put the other one on the box and you might confuse it for the product. Princess says a logo should be simple with great contrast, easy to use on billboards, and tiny. Exactly. All right, so thank you guys for playing a round of interesting but is it a logo. And for our video watchers, thank you for sticking with us too. Hopefully you won the game show as well. Okay, so for our reward, Nick says, what did we win? We actually won a break. So we're going to take probably about a 10-minute break. And then when we come back, we're going to, A please, yeah. We're going to continue digging in. So we kind of covered the what of our what, why, and how, our what, why, and how circle. And so when we come back, we're going to look at the why. So why does a good logo look so good? Why does it work? And that sort of thing. So if you're watching via video, there will be probably about 10 minutes of silence. So you can feel free to, the only time, you can feel free to kind of jump ahead if you'd like, or you can just enjoy the silence. And I would recommend, if you haven't yet, popping into the classroom, doing the daily checkpoint, checking out discussion, orienting yourself, that sort of thing. All right, so I'm going to mute myself, but I'll see you guys back in just about 10 minutes. All right, well, it looks like our break time is just about up, which is unfortunate because I didn't see the message about having a blank screen for break for a collaborative creation of some sort. But I think that's a genius idea. And actually, another little known feature of Zoom is that it does have not just annotation tools, but a whiteboard, which is, excuse me, pretty sweet as well. All right, so welcome everybody back. And we will jump into things in just a second. I'm trying to see what else is going to appear. But I guess I have a feeling this is kind of it. Oh, a nice little stream. Nice. Let's see, Princess says, just started playing with the logo for the assignment just for fun. Sweet. Yeah, very cool. I love this. I love just watching a picture magically appear. But unfortunately, we're gonna have to stop sharing and jump back into the other content so that we can continue moving along. Oh man, such a creativity killer, I know. All right, so just as kind of a recap of where we've been, we kind of introduced the class, introduced everything, and then we looked at yeah, for sure. We will definitely have a whiteboard as the break time. I think that's a great practice. But yeah, so we looked at, kind of what makes a logo. So kind of some aspects of logo design versus just drawing or illustration or something like that. So the next thing we're going to check in with is the why, which is why does a good logo look so good? So why do good logos work? So basically, good logos work for a number of reasons, and I think it can be, I think those reasons can be distilled down to probably about 6, and then kind of jump from there. So this is something that may look somewhat familiar if you've been into, say, the assignment this week. I was about to say discussion, but I'm pretty sure it's the assignment. So these are kind of 6 principles of logo design that if you follow them, if you are mindful of them as you are creating, there's a pretty good chance that you will have a good logo that will look good. So this is kind of the answer to the why question. So why do some logos work? Why do they look good? Generally, good logos have following characteristics in play. So simplicity, unity, they are logical in the way they unfold, they are consistent, and they also have a good splash of creativity as well. Princess says, can I show you? Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. I can see your work after class. All right, so we're gonna just break down each of these pretty quick. Because like I said, there's a lot of content around each of these principles in the course itself, but I just want to make sure that we touch on and kind of pull out a couple things I think are key points. So first off, simplicity. So we kind of saw this on the logos that we looked at together in the interesting but is it a logo game. So the logo must be recognizable in a variety of sizes and contexts. Thus, overly intricate illustrations or color gradients should be avoided. So good, effective logos tend to be very simple. And the reason that is just practically they need to work in a lot of different places and in a lot of different sizes. And so you want to definitely design on the simple side when you're putting something together. So number 2, unity. So a logo is the visual representation of a company. So again, the logo is like the face of the company. So mixing styles in font, color, or imagery often result in a confused message to the consumer. So if you have a lot of stuff going on, if you don't have kind of a unified feel, your consumer can kind of feel a little bit like, wait, what's going on? What am I supposed to be looking at? What's the most important thing? What's the actual, company name versus the product? So you want to avoid confusion at all costs, and kind of having a theme of unity is kind of what keeps that together. All right, so number 3, logical. Nick says you don't want something like a chili pepper to be the logo for an ice skating rink. Exactly. Okay, so though purely typographic word mark logos are often a very effective and flexible way to show a company's identity, it is important to remember that typefaces themselves can carry character traits and can unknowingly contribute to logo perception. So this, when I wrote this, I was thinking specifically of letters and typefaces. I believe it's the principle of avoiding showy typefaces for the sake of using showy typefaces. But yeah, so kind of metaphors too. You know, you want to create something that is very logical. So chili pepper, ice skating rink, hot and cold, maybe not quite such a good combo. You know, just anything that may provoke thoughts of something. Um, keep in mind those thoughts and you know, how you can use them to your advantage rather than cause confusion. So good logos are logical in their construction. Oops, looks like we have 2. Okay, next one is consistent. So basically what this has to do with is kind of how a logo shows up when it's used in a whole bunch of different areas. So again, as Princess said, you know, a logo has to work in tiny things, you know, on the side of a pen, in an app for a cell phone. It also has to work on a billboard, on something huge. So, you know, how can you kind of check in and how can you kind of work through and, you know, how can you make something that really does have that kind of effectiveness and really kind of communicates throughout all different places. So Princess says on a bus, exactly, yeah. So it's almost like I feel like with logos working, I feel like it could be like a Dr. Seuss book, like, does it work on a bus? Does it work on a plane? You know, does it work on a postage stamp? You know, does it work somewhere that rhymes with postage stamp, which I don't know what that would be, but you know, you kind of have to think in all these different ways and all these different kind of outcomes. All right, last but not least, creative. So how can you capture the spirit of the company's character? Oh, would it work as a ramp? Yes. We have a children's, a Dr. Seuss homage children's book that I think could come out of this course as well. So if you're watching via video, the chat box is turning into a place of potential rhyming, and you can feel free to contribute as well via email. Okay, so how can you capture the spirit of the company's character? So what kind of symbolism could you use? You know, what's the most obvious thing? And then, you know, how can you perhaps abstract that into something that's maybe not quite as expected? And then as you are doing that, you know, what beautiful kind of abstract symbol might be able to come out of that. So creativity, you know, you don't always need a one-to-one alignment with whatever it is that you're showing. You know, how can you kind of start with whatever the most obvious is, but then kind of abstract and kind of create out of there for something that's even more interesting and intriguing. Okay, so back through here. So good logos, simplicity, unity, logical, consistent, and creative. Kind of all the principles they generally have in common. Okay, sorry, we're gonna zip through these really quickly. So we're gonna take just a couple looks at a couple more logos. These are all logos that I pulled off of Behance. So these are potentially logos from your design competitors. Well, most of them are. But yeah, so we're just going to kind of see, you know, are they fulfilling? How are they fulfilling? Just kind of do a quick kind of dialogue. What's happening here? And I say dialogue. I'll probably be talking, but you all can feel free to, you know, kind of contribute as well. And again, if you're watching via video, you know, think about the answers. Think about what you might be able to filter as well. Nick says, so this is a light bulb pencil. Ah, there you have it. This kind of gets creativity marks. So I think this was a graph or a logo for a graphic designer, kind of creating ideas, writing them down, kind of pencil. It's like the creativity symbol, light bulb, kind of the universal symbol for I have an idea. Ignore the fact that it's pixelated. It's because I can only find a small logo of it, and so I blew it up. But it is quite crisp in the original. But yeah, so Diego says genius. Yeah, I mean it's just a very creative solution for how to convey kind of creativity. Well, how to convey ideas and creating. So you know the idea, light bulb, pencil. You know, kind of combine them together. So very cool how it sticks in your head. Okay, so this is something that you will see in in the assignment for this week. Perhaps not quite as fitting because it's got a lot of elements going on. It's kind of got splashes, it has colors. It would have a lot of issues working in many different sizes. So look at the simplicity of this, kind of how we all said, oh, this is really cool, this is genius, you know, this is 3 ideas all rolled into one that makes sense. Then you have something like this, which not working quite so much. So this is kind of the opposite, kind of the antithesis of the light bulb pencil. It just feels kind of busy. It feels very kind of amateurish. It doesn't seem like it has a strong vision behind it, and so it doesn't have that sense of polish. Okay, so here's another one. So we have the logo for Square. Again, super clean, easy to see. It actually is a square, and the company name is Square. Totally fitting. Not quite as high on the creativity, but it works. It's a bit like the Target logo. So again, this is super simple, super consistent, and this could be used in a whole bunch of different ways because the square itself could be taken apart from the word, and you know then that could work. That could work as well. So square and square. That we're going to contrast with something like this, which is also part of the assignment for this week, Hale and Carter's Guitar Academy. So look at how clean and easy and imminently usable this is. And then you go to something like this and kind of the complete opposite is true. So it could really kind of have everything and then some going on. And this is probably not, again, very usable in many, many places. If you imagine shrinking this to a postage stamp, whew, things would get very messy. And they already are pretty messy as well. So, okay, so here's another example of one that I pulled down. So think, I love this. I love that the N is like, it's negative space, you know, it's not really there, and yet we all see it. Like, oh my gosh, so cool. Yeah, the only thing I would say is, you know, put this in a couple of colors and whoa, so cool. Okay, so super simple, super clever. You know, you just kind of want to stare at it because the N kind of jumps back and forth. So again, great logo. This is a good. And then we're going to look at something that perhaps is not so good. And this is another example from the assignment for this week. So notice particularly with this one, what's so cool about the logo is that they kind of don't, you know, spell it all out for you. It would kind of be nice to know what kind of, you know, company this is or whatever. But just looking at it visually, they kind of leave some things for you to figure out, like particularly that N. And then when you have something like this, it's kind of much more of an illustration. They kind of tell you too much. So, you know, it's not really something that you can kind of engage with. Nick says less of a logo, more of a menu cover. Yep. Yeah, and it's a tricky line because Logos definitely can have some illustration elements, but when they have too much, it tips into being too much of an illustration. Diego says, do the companies or do the logos for the assignment belong to real companies that we could research? They do not belong to actual companies, but if you do download the folder, there are kind of some keywords and such about the companies. So yeah, and actually, I don't think they belong to real companies. It was the intention that they did not, but who knows, because the world is a big place, so they could actually be companies and you might not even realize it. Okay, so super simple, spelling or letting you participate, showing you everything, perhaps showing you too much. Princess says your eyes don't know where to go. Exactly. All right, here's another one, Meraki. You'll see that this is kind of like almost an M, which I think is genius. And then it turns into almost like a face of some sort, or kind of looks like a fox to me. I don't know, but I just like the way it looks. Again, super simple, just an overall composition and in kind of how it is put together. And it really could, again, be applicable in a whole variety of settings. Yeah, it looks like a fox. Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Okay, and then here's kind of the opposite. Again, from the assignment. So you can see this too has kind of a graphic, kind of an illustration, but it's definitely a little bit heavy-handed in how it's been assembled. And again, it just feels like it's just too much. And the alignment is also a little off. Yeah. So kind of what I'm hoping you guys are seeing throughout these kind of these comparisons is really that the good logos have kind of this effortless quality to them. So, something pops out, it's very clear, doesn't feel confused. Whereas the logos that are from the assignment, which you guys are going to be redesigning, almost feel like they're trying too hard. So this is trying too hard to convince me of, art gallery. This is trying too hard to convince me of rock and roll. This is trying too hard to show me, early morning kind of grassy scene. So, how can you, and we're going to talk a little bit more about kind of design process and how you can think. But, kind of your first thing to think about is really how can you just streamline a lot of what's going on, and how can you make your logos kind of have that like effortless, cool kind of sense of simplicity. So, all right, so how can I win? This is leading us into the how portion, which means we're soon going to jump into the course itself, and I'm going to do some demo work. So in the logo design process, and then even more kind of just in graphic design in general, how can you win? How can you ensure that you have more of a good chance of having something good than a not so good chance of having something cluttered? So kind of pop quiz to end things. What is the first step in the logo design process, would you all guess? So is it making stuff, or is it asking questions? And this is perhaps the key to how you can win. So if you're watching the video, again, what do you think? What's the first step? Making stuff or asking questions? Okay, it looks like we have an overwhelming response, unanimous, asking questions. And yes, 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 that is 1,000,000%. That's 1,000,000% the correct answer. So how you can win at logo design, at design in general, really make sure that you are super clear on what you need to do, and even more that you are super clear on kind of a vision, and use that to inform the stuff that you make. So first step in the logo design process, I would say first step in any design process, ask questions and then make stuff. Okay, next, oops, let me clear all the drawing. So next question, kind of along that sign or sphere, to whom should the questions be directed? So we all think that we need to ask questions, but who should the questions be directed to? Is it your client or is it yourself? How can you increase your chances to win? Okay, looks like just as we had the resounding answer for B, we have the resounding answer for A. And yes, exactly. So you really, really, really need to ask your client questions. You need to check in with them. You need to make sure you are very clear on their vision, and then use that as kind of your starting point for what you're doing. Nick says technically both, but yourself comes in when you're designing it. Exactly. Once you start the design process, you do need to keep on questioning yourself, because you need to say, hey, why am I doing this? And if the answer is because I like it, that's not good enough. But yeah, so you need to question then, question yourself as well. So, but first and foremost, be clear on your client, question them, and then move into questioning yourself. Very good. Okay, so most importantly, as you are designing, I think that we get this idea, and we probably promote this idea, I know I certainly do at times, that we are creatives, and so we just kind of instinctually make stuff, and it's brilliant and it's genius, and it's kind of the muses speak to us and we respond. That may be great, but really as you are engaging in especially a process where a client is involved, you really want to use your brain. You want to design smart. So you want to have a plan, you want to have a purpose behind whatever it is that you're doing, and you want to use that to really guide what you're making, question yourself, and really take ownership of what you're producing, because you guys all have it. So you have to use it, and you have to be critical thinkers as well. All right, so use your brain, and then one more. One more heads up. Hey, Design Club happening tomorrow, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So you really should check it out. You really should come, and we'll actually together visit where you can learn about Design Club. So that I can give that one more kind of push, one more kind of PSA as well. Okay, so we talked about. That's so cute. And Princess, I love her name too. That's great. Okay, so we talked about what makes a good logo. We talked about why good logos work. We talked about how to think about doing stuff. So what we're going to do now is spend the remaining time in our classroom looking into the assignments and going from there. So just kind of a heads up, if you're wondering what's going on with the assessment, we're going to go over that in tomorrow's session. So you will have to wonder a bit longer, but excuse me, we will discuss it at some point. All right, so here is the assignment, and I'm sorry, I just lost the chat box, but maybe I can find it again. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so you can see here, logo redesign part 1. So just as I said at the beginning of this session, so for the first 2 weeks of this course, we are going to work on the redesign of a logo. And then the second 2 weeks, we are going to design a logo for ourselves. So read the background. I will not read it right now. I will trust you all can do that. Then you can see here 5 considerations to keep into account. These are definitely related to the 5 or 6 principles I presented. Okay, so here where it's the prompt, we can get into stuff. And you can see here for the first 2 weeks of this class, you'll be engaged in a logo redesign project. This week you will choose a client from the 5 selections found within this folder and begin the design process. In week 2, you will finalize the logo and show it in use within a corporate identity structure. So here are 1, 2, 5 logos, 3, 4, 5. So you can see the logos here, what they're going to be, and then you can click on this, or you can just click on this folder. And if you click on this folder, it will actually give you everything. So I'm going to just go through that option. And I'm going to stop sharing for just a second while I check out my downloads folder. And okay, and I will share my screen again so you can see what's there. So when you download the folder, I don't know why it looks so completely disorganized, but it's a zipped folder. So you should have all of these logos in it. And then they should coincide with the logos over here. So when you click on one, you're just going to double click on the folder, and you'll see in the folder itself, you have an AI version, which is in Adobe Illustrator. And then you also have a Word doc that gives kind of a company overview, that gives color requests, it gives company keywords. So ideally, if this were a fully professional project, you would be communicating with the client, you would be asking them questions, they would be giving you information, all that kind of stuff. In some ways, it would be a little bit easier because you'd be communicating with them directly. In other ways, it would be much harder because you'd be communicating with them directly. So just kind of imagine that, you know, you have asked great questions and these are the responses that the company has given you. And so you can really kind of use this to guide your own thinking about what you might be doing, kind of what you might redesign. So company overview will give you just a little 3-sentence summary of what they're doing, and then why they want a new logo, and then color requests, what they would like, and then company keywords, which we're going to use to really guide our choices. So download the folder, make your choice, and have fun, because each of them is kind of uniquely tragic in so many ways. Okay, so you can see here's the project. So this week we will choose a client from the list provided and create both, very important, both, rough sketches and black and white computer drafts of the logo. And then also, if you have an existing logo you would like to redesign for this assignment that is not one of these, I'm totally cool with that, but you must let me know before you start doing it. So don't just turn it in and be like, hey, I did my own thing. No, not so much. So just let me know and I will most likely say yes, but just to kind of check in with you. Okay, so first, choose one of the companies above. Each company has a vector copy of the current logo, one-page description. Next, conduct visual research for inspiration. Then complete 9 preliminary black and white sketches of possible logo concepts, keeping in mind company requests and overall character. You can complete these sketches by hand or on the computer. And if you do the sketches by hand, you will need to just take a scan or a photo of them so that you can submit those. And then once you have completed your 9 sketches, you're going to choose 3 of your favorites, 3 of what you think are your most promising directions, and then create a further refined black and white version of each of the logos on the computer. So basically what you're going to turn in is a minimum of 9 sketches in black and white. So again, these could be done by hand. These could also just be kind of 9 variations that you've created on the computer. But it's very important that it is black and white, not color, because all logos must work in black and white. That's another reason why gradients are such a tricky choice, because they don't work in black and white very well. But yeah, so 9 sketches, and then 3 refined kind of best directions from your sketches. in black and white, and then the original, and then the 3 refined black and whites. So, and then, and then a list of the company keywords is found in the company document. Whew. Good thing we're reading this together, since I forgot about that one. Okay, so name your file, DES 242 assignment 1 first last .pdf, and submit it for grading. So basically 9 sketches, 3 refined best directions, and then kind of the before and the after. Well, 1 before, and then, you know, the 3 refined afters, so we can really see how you've taken the logo and kind of progressed it further. So kind of the key things that you really want to think about as you are working on this is that it is redesign. So they don't want, you know, the same look with a different font. They want something that's completely different, and that feels new and fresh, and yeah, just overall very different from kind of from what they currently have. So don't, you know, look at this and think, okay, I need to keep flaming guitars because that is important. Nope. Look at this and think, okay, you know, they want something rock and roll. You know, how can I do that in a bit more of a refined, elevated, and usable way, as opposed to kind of being quite so literal. So, you know, don't make yours look like these. Make yours look like, you know, some cool twist on what it is that you're doing, which is why you will need to use your brains, because there's a lot of solutions out there, but you have to kind of figure out what's kind of best for you all around. All right, so let's look in the chat box. Princess says, what if we are no good at sketching? Nick says, the sketching just has to be for you to know what you are wanting. They don't have to be perfect. If you were sketching an ad, for example, just make stick figures for people. Same principle applies to these. Yep. Yeah, and I would completely echo that. And we're actually going to look at sketching. We're going to do some webcam time of, you know, what exactly a sketch could look like. But it really is kind of more for you to just keep on thinking. It doesn't have to really be a perfect outcome. So kind of just more getting ideas out. And thinking of some different solutions. So I would really encourage you guys. You know, I think this is not the day that we're doing let's demystify sketching by hand. But I think that something does happen in a very interesting way when you don't start on the computer, when you start by hand. Just because you can kind of think in a slightly more creative way. You're not thinking like a computer. I think when you start on the computer, you kind of think like a computer. So if you can start by hand, you kind of bring your ideas to the computer, and things tend to go just a bit better. So, but we'll go over that tomorrow because I know we're getting a little bit short on time. All right, so if you're watching via video, or if you happen to be here in person, you have any questions about kind of what you should be turning in, what you should be doing, just let me know, and I will definitely kind of clarify and give you guys some insights. Okay, so what we're going to do for the remaining probably 15-ish minutes is we're going to talk a little bit about conducting visual research and just kind of some tips for what you might do, how you might think of that, and just kind of how you might go about doing this first step. So I feel like, and this is completely biased because this is exactly how I work as a designer, but I think that asking questions is very important, as we said. But then I think the next step is really just kind of thinking about ideas of what you could do, and you know, what might be out there already, you know, what other people are doing, just kind of what the landscape is of whatever the company is that you're choosing, you know, to just kind of help frame your thinking. So what I would recommend for you all to do, and, you know, if you have your own process and you're like, my deal, you know, works perfectly for me, so stick with it. But if it's not working perfectly for you, or if you're kind of like, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to think of ideas beyond, you know, what the client has given me, you might want to, you know, try a couple things, try a couple of these suggestions. So I'm going to actually stop sharing for 1 second while I pull up a site. And okay, and let me share my screen. Okay, so I am going to pretend, well, I won't pretend because I'm actually going to do it. I am going to imagine that my client is the Break of Day Cafe, or Break of Day Bagel Cafe. What's the logo called? What's the one I'm, oh, Break of Day Bagel Cafe, there it is. Break of Day Bagel Cafe. So first step, you know, before I even get into the sketching or anything like that, I'm going to just do a little bit of visual research to kind of see, you know, what's out there, see what I might think of, what kind of grabs my attention, that sort of thing. So where I really like to go to do visual research of all sorts is going to Pinterest.com. So super easy. It gives you insight to about 50 million things. The chance of you getting sidetracked is probably about 100%. But it's all kind of good, just inspiration and ideas and things that you can, you know, kind of look at and think, hey, maybe I could try that, or hey, maybe I could try this, or hey, maybe this is, you know, a cool thing, or just something like that. So I would recommend everybody, you know, make your choice, you know, about who your client is. But then as your next step, taking, you know, 15 minutes minimum, and just, you know, jumping on the internet in some form. And I would highly recommend Pinterest, but just kind of look at stuff of a high quality design nature, and just kind of see what, you know, might jump out at you, what might be speaking to you, that sort of thing. So I haven't even put any search terms in, but I will say right away that as I've been talking, I've been looking at this like deer with a triangle over it. I don't even know what this is, but I love this idea of having, you know, some sort of simple kind of old world style, kind of black and white art with like a transparent shape put over that. That might be kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is take a screenshot of just this little section. So if you're on a Mac, Shift Command 4, and then you can just grab a little something. And then as long as I'm here, let me just check in. Interesting, looks like this is their logo. But I mean, how cool is that? And then just click the X. And then I'm going to put in logo. I'm going to do cafe logo designs and see what happens. Okay, so kind of fun to see, you know, just what people are posting, what's out there. You know, the amount of creativity is insane. And so, you know, you can kind of see just how people are using elements, what they're doing, what they're putting together. And it's such a, you know, it's a cool thing to kind of see. So important thing to note about sites like Pinterest, you never directly copy, because a direct copy is essentially a steal. But you are inspired and you say, I like this thing. So, you know, how could I potentially use this thing in whatever I'm doing, you know, some element of it, some inspiration, that sort of thing. So here's a whole bunch of cool just coffee. Oh, it's so cute. I love this. Look at this is a great example of sketches. You know, these are all different potential options of, this is great. Just different things that could happen. Bakery and cafe, I actually really like that. And in my brain, you know, I'm kind of thinking, hey, is there a way I could like incorporate a bagel and a coffee cup together? That might be kind of cool. So again, Shift Command 4. I'm just going to take a screenshot. There's something that kind of looks like that. This one kind of looks like it too, but I like the overhead shot. So again, so yeah, so take time. And if you're like, this looks like such a waste of time, Lisa's just, you know, looking at pictures and taking screenshots, I can do it way quicker. in theory, it looks like I'm just, looking at pretty pictures and taking screenshots, but it's all very processy, because it's just kind of filling my brain with ideas and about like, could I do this? Maybe this is an option. This is something really interesting. It's kind of giving creativity vitamins to my brain. And then, when I actually jump in the computer, then I'll have kind of some things to build from. And I really like these. I can't think of any reason why I'd use them, so I'm just going to close it. But kind of cool. That's cute with the croissant. I love this. Shift Command 4. So just like a really sketchy, well, sketchy in a good way, as in it's been sketched. Illustration style, kind of a contour thing. Kind of cool. So again, just look, screenshot. Love this. Shift Command 4. And so it doesn't, like I said, don't spend. Just make this like whatever immediately jumps out to you, grab a screenshot. You can always delete it. More is better. So kind of, see, I really like I like the layout of that, but I can't think of why I would use it. Well, hey, if I like the layouts, who needs a reason why to use it? Let me just grab a screenshot. Okay. Oh, this is perfect. This is kind of what I was picturing with, this idea, like, could you figure out a way to have like a bagel and a coffee cup nested together? I think you could. I'm glad I'm glad they didn't directly do it, because then I would have been like, oh, why didn't I think of that? This is super cool. Again, another kind of abstract-y kind of sketch thing. And I will fully confess, I have a client project that I'm working on that super inspired by this idea of like scribbles that resolve into something. So a little bit tainting my thinking right now, but it's okay. A llama, super cool. Okay, all right, so we will not do this much longer since I know time is going. But yeah, so really like do this kind of visual research. And I did cafe logo designs. You could do financial services logo. This is if you were doing Frey Financial. Woo, lots of totally different feel in lots of ways, but again, super interesting. Love these kind of graphics. Look at that. How cool is that? So, and if you're doing the rock band or rock, I was gonna say the rock band, the hard rock one, you could do that, art gallery logo. So, just educate yourself about what's out there. And then chances are, as you, that's so cool. As you kind of go through these, you'll look at some other elements too that you didn't even think of finding. And you never know how that will kind of influence your thinking as well. Look at this, is a little bit like that one with Think. You kind of see like a canvas being nestled in without even seeing the canvas. Just it's the negative space kind of comes in a really interesting way. Okay, so once you this is so cool too. If you didn't get it already, this is one of my favorite parts of designing. Like, look at how cool that is. It looks like the frame, but it's yeah. Oh yeah, no problem, Diego. Thanks. Okay, so so once we have everything gathered, we've been taking screenshots like crazy, potentially. We are going to, let me just stop sharing for a second because I'm pretty sure my desktop is empty, but I want to make sure 100%. Okay, yeah, it is. Okay, so once you have all your screenshots, depending on where you put them for your where your computer sends them. I'm on a Mac, so they all just instantly show up on my desktop. But what I would recommend is putting them all into a folder. So I'm just going to do a control click, new folder, assignment 1, visual inspiration, spell it right. And then just drag everything in there. And really the reason why I would recommend putting them in a folder is that messy desktop syndrome is a real thing. So you always want to try to be as kind of organized and neat as you can so that you don't inadvertently lose something. So then we're just going to highlight all of them and kind of just browse through, see what we've got. Ooh, it's kind of small, but that's okay. So, kind of see what was standing out to you, see what might have been kind of speaking to you, why it is, see if there's any sort of like common theme amongst the elements that you're finding. Just, kind of see how looking at these images kind of excites you to try new things. And yeah, just kind of see what was jumping out, what was happening there. So once you do your visual inspiration, you're in a good spot to potentially begin sketching. Or, you could start doing some sketches and then, when you kind of run out of ideas, then you could go back and do some more visual inspiration gathering. It's not, it's never really done. It's only done once you turn everything in. So you can always kind of feel free to go back and forth and see kind of what you might need, what might jump out at you, that sort of thing. All right, so our next step would actually be sketching, as I said, but as it is 3:50 my time, 2:50 Mountain Time, we are going to instead wrap things up and not get to that until tomorrow. So just kind of a highlight what we're going to cover in tomorrow's session, which is also at 1 o'clock Mountain Time. We're going to do some sketching, then we're going to jump onto the computer, do some more refined drafts of our logo, and then we're going to walk through just the remaining steps of kind of assembling everything together so that you guys are very clear on how to submit assignment 1. And then finally, we are going to go over the assessment and kind of just enter the library. We're going to take a little library field trip, virtual library field trip, so that everybody's pretty clear too on what to do with the assessment for this week. So thanks, guys. Oh yes, Princess says, can I show you what I have? Yes, yeah, you can show me, but in like 2 minutes. So thanks, guys, for great first session. If you're watching via video, thanks for sticking with us. And as usual, if you have any questions, Ruby wanted to say goodbye. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know as well. So I think that Princess is going to show what she has. But if you guys need to go, completely understand, and we will, we'll hopefully look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And remember, Design Club, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Good stuff. All right, so here are Princesses, different drafts. Okay, so it looks like you are working in black and white, which is great. I would say it's interesting, but I would say it really feels still quite a bit like what they have. And so what I would be kind of curious to see is how you can kind of reconfigure the elements. How can you maybe have the idea of a frame or of a ribbon without literally having a frame or a ribbon, think to some of those examples that we saw in the in Pinterest. What might that look like in some ways? So I think this is a good starting sketch, but I mean keep on working through and seeing what else might be there. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm kind of liking how I don't have a border on this one. Just
Mm.
have a gradient in here.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it look interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that you've kind of removed the frame in a lot of ways. And I mean, I like your font that you're using on that second one. I would challenge you. I don't know what the keywords are for the art gallery, but just make sure that it's not like super sleek and modern or something. Mostly because that font feels a little kind of old world. But I haven't read the yeah. I haven't
I don't
read
know
the
why
overview.
I'm
So.
getting them connected here. It's not supposed to be connected.
Ooh.
Ah, where'd it go?
Undo, yeah. Do you have it? Is it maybe did you group it by mistake?
No, it shouldn't have been grouped, but I guess it did.
Hmm.
That was weird. Oh,
Yeah,
there we
that
go.
is very weird. Yeah.
I was just playing around with the borders, for a
Hmm.
frame, making my own thing.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
didn't want it to be square on this one. I wanted it to kind of be, unique.
Uh-huh.
Because they want it energetic and
Uh-huh.
playful. So I kind of wanted to do like scattered little flowers in the center here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
And
that
then I was
definitely has
like, let's be
movement.
energetic with little scribbles so that way people get the feel that it's art
Hmm.
related. That's why I went with the scribbles on that one. And I'm like, that kind of feels like Alice to me.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that
That's
does
why,
for sure.
you know, called writing style for that one.
Hmm.
Should I change them?
I mean, I like it. Like I would say, just keep on. Don't change anything that you have right now. But just keep on making more. So, because
Okay.
remember, you're gonna need kind of 9 altogether. But I would challenge you to do one that has no frame and no ribbon, and see kind of what other things you can put in. What other
Okay.
elements will work for that. How else you can kind of interpret it, I guess.
All right.
Hmm. Yeah, but yeah, and
Maybe
then
Mona Lisa outline.
yeah, yeah. I mean, some sort of like kind of like a sketch or something, or just a really simple like
I'm not
scribbly
really
face.
good at sketching. Is the only thing.
No, you totally can do it.
I'll try
Just
my
yeah,
best.
I'd say just give it a try, and if it doesn't work, like it's very low stakes because it's just meant to be kind of a quick thing. So kind of go with that.
But
That
I do
that
like the gradient.
hmm.
This kind of feels more like an art thing to me.
Hmm.
But I would like to put like a white Mona Lisa in the middle.
Oh yeah, that might be kind of cool.
I think that with the gray contrast behind it would
Hmm.
really make it pop.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of see what might work there. Hmm. Yeah, so keep on playing, and that's kind of the cool thing too about being in the
And
first
I was
week.
playing with the different ribbons.
Oh, nice.
See,
Yeah.
on this one, I have like the little line right here, so that way it cuts off.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was thinking of kind of changing the color right here. That's
Mm-hmm.
like a bend,
Oh yeah.
like a different gray there, and keep the cut off there for that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it feels
This
like it
one, I
has.
chose a whole different ribbon. You
Yeah,
see,
yeah. I like how it has kind of the dimensionality to it.
that's
Really
why I like
seeing.
this one. It
Yeah.
makes it kind of boom.
Yeah, it kind of comes out at you.
So I kind of want to try and erase like part of it to make the Mona Lisa outline at least.
Oh yeah. Or I mean, you could even draw it. Yeah, or you could even use like a brush on top of it,
Yeah.
or like draw it using pencil or pen tool.
Probably pin tool would be best for me
Yeah,
because I suck.
I say whatever you feel like is your stronger suit. I always feel like I tend to create in those.
6 more
Uh-huh.
and just play around with it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and see what happens.
Okay, I'll save what I have though. Okay, I
Uh-huh.
already did.
Yeah.
I marked it as my concept sketch.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for sharing. Yeah. I mean, Nick, if you want to share yours too, that would be great. Sketch
I
idea.
better go.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks so much, Princess. And say hi to your little one.
I will. Bye.
Oh yeah, no worries. Oh, I like it. That's great. This is like the spoon in the sun. Yeah. Bagels. Yeah, and this is a great this is a great showing for what what sketches are. I mean, they're like super rough and they do kind of look like scribbles, but in your mind, you kind of know where you're headed with them and what might yeah, what might be happening, how they might kind of come together. Very cool. I like these all. Yeah, I'd say these all have some potential for sure. Very cool. All right. Well, thanks guys for sharing. And now I'm even more excited to see, kind of what people are coming up with, what ideas are happening, how the creativity is developing, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, very cool. All right. Well, thanks guys. Have a great rest of the day. Um, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you all in tomorrow's session. All right. Bye.